This is the Cafe Racer Podcast, episode 129 for July 25th, 2018. Here we go. All right, guys.
Yeah, there's so many of us today.
Hi.
Like, there's too many for my phone to display how many of us there are. I have to, like, scroll through everybody's little icons to see everyone down in the bottom.
All right.
We got a lot of people in the house tonight.
I just got a notification on my phone that the Cafe Racer podcast is live, and I was like, oh, I got to go watch that.
5, 6. There's seven people jammed in this little TV screen.
Yeah, so this is our little, our Patreon, like, everybody, like, supporter kind of, like, hangout that we're putting out as an episode again. I've been gone for what seems like forever. Some of you may feel like the podcast has been gone forever because we took a month. So, summer scheduling has been nuts. Yeah.
Well, we both were really, besides you being gone, my work got really crazy. And I was working, believe it or not, a bunch of weekends too. So, and yeah. I don't even think I remember how to sit on a motorcycle right now. So,
bro, me neither. Like,
right.
I haven't done a single motorcycle related thing in a little over 5 months. I think I'm still a motorcyclist. I'm not 100% positive.
Do you still have a motorcycle?
Yes.
Then you're a motorcyclist.
All right.
So that's the only criteria. So I can go out and I can buy a motorcycle, put it in the garage, and just walk around with like a bunch of biker gear on and go, I'm a motorcyclist.
I'm down for that.
All right. So let's do some introductions here, starting with Wes. Why don't you tell us who you are and what you do, and we'll go down the line.
Well, I could talk forever on what I do. My name's Wes Fleming. You guys might remember me from being on a previous episode of the Cafe Racer podcast. I do a show called Chasing the Horizon for the BMW Motorcycle Owners of America.
And how is that show going?
It's going pretty good. It's been a summer schedule. I've only been doing one episode a month. So I had we kind of tag teamed Tom Putnam from Beeline. I think I waited till you put yours out to put mine out. And I got another one queued up for August, and then I kicked back in September with a full schedule.
Yeah, we're going to be starting the same thing here now that Crash is back. Alex, what do you got? Introduce yourself and tell us what's going on.
Hi, I'm Alex. I guess I'm a fan.
You're more than a fan, brother. You're a Patreon supporter. You're part of the team. You're a cog.
I have been doing less riding than usual lately because I'm busy trying to get my house in the market this weekend. But
oh boy,
hopefully the new house will have a shop, a garage, and I'll get back to riding soon.
And we also have the illustrious Ham and Cheese from Amen Moto on. Ham?
Which one of us is Ham? I can't remember.
You know who Ham is, Scott. You are.
So I'm Scott Ald from the Amen Moto Motorcycle YouTube channel, and my partner Doug is here with us tonight as well. We make crappy motorcycle videos for YouTube.
I gotta call a foul on that one because they might have been crappy when you first started, but they're not crappy anymore.
Yeah,
they're really awesome.
Still call them crappy if you want, though.
Yeah, I mean,
no, really, when you got
it's all about the branding.
People that pushing 40,000 views on a video, then I don't care who you are. I mean, obviously you're not some 12-year-old girl talking about her easy bake oven that gets 10 million views. We all know those are the most popular videos on YouTube.
I had one video. I had one video that's almost 40,000, and it's you guys riding a Goldwing. So, and nice. I'm not in it. So,
yeah.
Now my daughter has Taylor Swift videos with lyrics on the screen with 10 million views, and I want to blow my brains out. So.
That's unbelievable, right? I mean, it just goes to show you what America's not paying attention to motorcycles like they should be. They're paying attention to stupid girls.
To T-Swizzle, all right? Come on.
Yeah,
that's right.
You got to get your shit together, Steve. Priorities.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know what happened. Speaking of Steve, where's Special Case at?
I'm still here. My
He's
video
there.
cut out. My bandwidth is horrible.
Okay.
All right, Steve, give us an introduction. Tell us what you do.
Steve Case. Most of the people on here know that I build motorcycles in my spare time.
He's not making T-Swizzle videos.
Who's T Swizzle?
Taylor Swift.
Oh, why do I not know that?
That's my question. I think that's what all of America would like to know right now.
Maybe
How
I'm
do you not know that?
55. T Swizzle. That's great. All right. Yeah, Steve Special Case builds incredible, really great builds on motorcycles from stuff that looks like it should have went in the trash pile. And then all of a sudden you got this great motorcycle. Yeah, between you and Jed's finding
polishing turds.
Yeah, but they're not turds when they're done though, man.
No,
They're
I know.
cool.
Yeah.
That Honda that he's
really
got
nice.
sitting in the garage, I'd be proud to ride.
Mm-hmm.
If it starts. So
that's key.
Well, hopefully by the end of next week, I'll be able to fire it for the first time. So
Sweet.
Cool. Yeah, we're looking forward to that.
So something interesting happened to me on my deployment that is not really motorcycle related, but it is podcast related. I get a random email from a senior chief on the boat, and she's like, "Hey, an old chief buddy of mine says that his son listens to your podcast," and I was like, "What?" And it's apparently Scott's dad.
Yeah.
First of all, like, your dad's still alive? That's super awesome.
Yeah. Shout out to my dad. Hi.
Yeah. Like, but I was like, what? And you know, the senior chief was somebody that I kind of knew, so it was kind of helpful that I already knew who she was. But I was just like, oh, well, that's random. Like, just out of nowhere.
To show you what a small world it is.
I'm convinced that every chief in the Navy knows each other.
Yeah, me too.
You know.
Yeah. Don't
get them talking about initiation. You'll never escape.
Wasn't that a big deal though? Becoming a chief in the Navy.
Mm-hmm.
It is. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
I know a buddy of mine is a corpsman. He's just made chief. Well, maybe a year ago, and you know, they posted pictures on Facebook, and it was like a big event.
Yeah, it's a big thing. It's like sort of the like transition in the Navy from being like a junior enlisted person to being a senior enlisted person.
Mm-hmm.
And so
it kind of means people have to listen to you.
Yeah, that and like the chief's mess, which includes E7 to E9, so like chief, senior chief, and master chief. They're typically known to be like a very tight knit, supporting group of people. Like, they're considered to be like the ones that, I guess, like, I wouldn't say get everything done, but like their job is, they're sort of like at that very middle management point where they're training the new people. Like, they're training the junior officers, but also training the junior enlisted. So yeah, they're also a bunch of fat douchebags.
that comment definitely won't filter up.
Yeah.
No. I mean, even if I make chief, which I'm up for chief, so even if I make chief, they're still a bunch of fat douchebags. I'll just get fat and be a douchebag with them.
That's awesome.
Look who joined the crowd.
Hey, Jed.
Hello, friends.
We're glad you left your party, Jeds, to come with your buddies and not a bunch of boring people.
Of course.
Or did you get kicked out of the party? What was the truth?
I just left.
Yeah. So recently, Jed's, I don't know if you put those pictures on Jed's moto or not, but he's got some killer shots from the Dragon that he posted up on Slack that most of you'll never get to see because you're not on Slack. So they're
on his Facebook.
Oh, yeah. Those were great, man. Those were some great shots.
Yeah, they did a good job. They caught me.
What'd you guys think about that? Because I was completely underwhelmed when I went on it.
The Dragon will never be the same again after Jed's.
What
did the Dragon think about Jed's? That's a better question.
It's underrated. I mean, it's just too much traffic.
Right.
Truthfully, it's just a big tourist attraction now. There's so much better roads around. So many better roads.
Yeah, I mean, like Wolf Trap is like right close to there, right? And it's like super fun and no traffic.
Mm-hmm. Highway 28 that runs from like the Fontana, goes past Fontana Dam for where the Iron Horse Lodge is, all the way to Deals Gap is incredible, and
yeah, absolutely.
It's fast. Yeah,
I took the Charahola over there. That was really nice too.
That's beautiful there. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So what'd you ride on the Dragon?
The Bonneville.
Okay.
His
Did you
new
get rid of the
love.
Harley? Is it sold?
It's it's gone.
Good.
Bye.
He misses it so much.
It sounds like it.
I think he took 27 pictures of this as he was getting rid of the bike. I can do that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, once I figured out where the foot pegs were, I kind of liked riding it a little bit, but it's just
it gets old after 2 quarts of oil.
Yeah. I guess it's like any other Sportster, really. It is what it is. You know, it's not meant to be a long distance bike.
Yeah.
I think 150 miles and you're about cooked on it anyway.
Yeah.
But so you guys rode together, right, Doug? You and Jeds on that?
Yeah, we had a fun trip. We did the BRP. So Jed's
The burp?
We did the
Burp.
the burp, right? So Jed's was out in Tennessee visiting family, and then we met up in Asheville, and then we took a stroll up the BRP. And
What
then,
is the BRP?
Oh, sorry, Blue Ridge Parkway. Yeah, you left
shit.
coasters. Yeah,
He
No,
lives in
no,
California.
I'm from Virginia. I should know this. Like,
Oh,
I don't know why I didn't realize that. It just wasn't connecting in my
Right.
Did you
brain.
guys happen to hit the unpaved section on it when you were there?
I did.
Oh, so
Yeah.
it was south of Asheville then, right?
Yeah, it was. We didn't get any of it. It was fine. Traction control off and rocket through it. It was fine.
So we had a real treat. So we went from Asheville all the way up to the top of the Blue Ridge Parkway where 64 crosses over and it turns into the Skyline Boring Drive. And we popped off there and then went up to Alexandria.
Yeah, Skyline Drive is like that, like 35-mile-an-hour cop-infested nightmare, right?
Yeah, it's bad. But we did, Jets, what did we do? About 430 miles, I think, of the Blue Ridge Parkway, right?
Yeah. Yep.
In one sitting, right? And speed limits are mostly 45. There's some sections that are 35. And we hit it on a Thursday, and it was glorious because we saw, and we're not making this up, we saw more deer than we saw cars going in our direction. And
Nice.
it was like nobody on the road, and it was marvelous.
Mm-hmm.
And you know,
That's
Jeds would slow up and wait for me, you know, and it was really intense though to drive. We stopped for lunch and for fuel, but other than that, it was just on, and it was really. I was worn out by the time we got to the top there. I was done. But it was really, it was an experience I won't forget.
I think I was there like 2 weeks before you guys, right? Maybe, or a week.
Asheville.
And I really I couldn't find a bike to rent. It was really I would have thought that in that area there'd be like rental places all over. There's not even an Eagle Rider there.
Yeah, there's nothing out
The
there.
places that advertised, I called them. They were either going to be closed when I was there, or they didn't have any bikes, or nobody answered the phone. It was kind of disappointing, you know.
Mhm.
And what I really wanted to do was rent a new. You know, I didn't really want to rent a Harley, but yeah, there was nothing. There was one guy way far north, like where Little Switzerland was, but he was only selling like tour packages. You know, you just couldn't rent a bike and go off on your own, and I didn't want to do his ride. Yeah, it was kind of a drag.
Right. So we'll have a video coming out in Amen Moto. Scotty's got a lot of work ahead of him. Started piling up all the videos, and I'll get that up to him to produce. So we'll have bits and pieces of that coming out on Amen Moto. There's some pretty entertaining stuff on there, Scott. I've never laughed so much in my life. So, but if you're going to do the Blue Ridge Parkway, you got to go up during a weekday like that. I was shocked. Here it was middle of summertime. And there was nobody on the road. It was just, it was great. It was really, we could go really as fast as we wanted. You just watch out for the white pickup trucks, right? We see a white, we slow down. Other than that, you know.
Skyline Drive is really that way on weekdays too, like Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday, as long as it's not leaf season.
Yeah.
Even though it's got a reputation for being way more highly patrolled, I've never had a problem on it.
When does that officially kind of start, Alex? The leaf season, like the end of September?
Middle of October, really.
Middle of October, because that's going to be a consideration if we decide to do, the Mid-Atlantic BDR next year? 'Cause some of the comments I've read about getting too far into leaf season where you're getting these big piles of leaves that are slippery everywhere. I guess enough to make it a hassle with a motorcycle. I've never ridden in anything like that. I mean, even when I've been in North Carolina late in the season, I didn't really see a lot of it on the roads.
It's like straight up grease. Like the leaves, when they get wet, they start to like disintegrate and turn into just like grease.
So that's going to be a consideration for next year if we're going to still try to plan that. I don't know how many of you guys are going to try to do any of it this year.
I'm gonna try to do a couple pieces. Maybe I can talk Alex into meeting me somewhere, and we can meet Harper's Ferry maybe and catch a day or two of that. Right? I'd like to try to preview some of that. So
yeah,
I've done the I think sections 4 and 5, which come through Maryland. That's the like Harper's Ferry up to the Maryland Pennsylvania line. What'd
you think, Alex?
It was good. It actually picked up a lot of roads that I haven't ridden before around here. It goes within a mile of my house.
Nice.
And it was a good day trip. There's a bypass to bypass Harper's Ferry, so you can use that to create a loop in Maryland pretty much.
Did you pick up a map from Butler, or did you just download the segments off the website?
I just downloaded the segments. I haven't picked up a map yet.
Yeah, cool. The map's got some good information on it, but honestly, if you're using something where you can use GPX files, they're all on there.
They've also had a whole bunch of route changes.
Yeah.
Because the original route, I guess, went through a bunch of private land, especially up in Pennsylvania, and there's a bunch of routes that have been gated.
Well, that's good to know. I'm gonna have to check out the website. So we the other thing is we've got AIM Expo coming up. So that's going to really eat the time in October a little bit. And I'm still trying to plan on getting a bike there and running it for a day. All right. How many of you guys are still going to go? Any of you guys besides me and Wes and Crash?
Yeah, I kind of have to go, the whole job thing. Not that I'm complaining, and having to go to AIM Expo is not really a hardship.
Yeah, to be honest, I'm not 100% certain about whether I'll be able to go this year now.
Right.
My transfer date for when I leave my command is now completely up in the air. So I don't know. We'll see.
So could you end up in another state?
No, I'm going to my next command is just going to be like another building, like almost walking distance from where I work now. There's a school I have to go to, and the last I heard, which was today, I wasn't even sure if they were going to make me go to the school or not, but I got an email from the guy that decides, and he said he's going to send me to that school. We just don't know when that school, he doesn't know off the top of his head when that school starts, or how long it is. So I don't know what they're going to tell me in terms of check out by this time and check into school on this time. And so
you're not going to be deployed for a while then, right?
No, I'm going to shore duty, so I should be basically at home. The place I'm going to does involve travel because we go and inspect other commands, and there are a few commands outside of the San Diego area that would be inspected by us.
Right.
But so there will be some travel, but not a lot. Okay. Not like a 5-month thing. It'll just be like, okay, going to be gone for a week to this place. And
yeah, well, I mean, if you can't make it, you can't make it. I'll be there for sure. And I know we're scheduled, like probably Wes too. We're going to have Larry Little on again from AIM. So
awesome.
We'll get the lowdown. What's going on?
In West Coast Motorcycle Road news, the Highway 1, which had been blocked by a landslide, is now clear for traffic. So those of you that want to get all those awesome bridges and all that sort of stuff off your bucket list, you can now travel the whole length of California on the 1 if you want to.
On the 1.
Yeah.
We have the 95 here.
Yeah, well, this is the lowest numbered interstate is 5. So this is like
is the one the same as the Pacific Coast Highway, or is that a different?
It is. It's the same highway. The Pacific Coast Highway is California State Highway 1.
So let me ask you, how long have you lived in California?
I've lived in California for 4 years. I've been on the West Coast for 7.
Okay, so I've always wanted to ask somebody who's native or lives in the area a long time, why do you call it the and then the road, like the 5 or the 105? Or
because they're Californians, Wes. That's why.
Well, no. There's got to be a reason for it. There's got to be a reason for it because we don't do it out here. As a matter of fact, I've never heard anybody do it outside
Nowhere
of California.
in the free world do they do it other than California.
But maybe there's a cultural thing that I've never been clued into. So maybe Chris knows.
No fucking clue.
Okay.
So I know that people from Arizona do it. Everybody in Washington did it when I lived up there. I lived in Washington for 3 years. And that's where I started, where it like started happening. Like, because I still don't think I would say the 95. I grew up in Virginia.
Right.
I would not say the 64 or the 95 or any of those numbers. I've always heard 405, 205, whatever 5 with the word the in front of them. And so it's like, I will say the 5, the 1, the 405. But if I'm at home, if I went home, I'd probably say, yeah, you get on 64 and go to 95, and then you take that all the way down. Or if you want to get on 17, instead of taking on 95, you could ride down the coast, like.
Well, if you came here and said, oh, yeah, I'm going to take the 64 over to Charlottesville, people would look at you like you had a third eye.
Yeah.
You might get beat up, too.
Yeah. People start throwing stuff at you, tomatoes, bottles.
We don't lack your can around here.
Exactly.
What the hell's wrong with you, man? Can't you just call it the 65? Yeah, no. And I think it almost sounds like you're talking about a train, like the 415.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It does, now that you mention it.
I'm going to hop on the 4. Well, where do I pick that up? The 4. I don't know where it is. So, listen,
that's a good question.
Speaking of that, the other day I got a text message from somebody that this is like my moment of boobery. They were having a friend of mine's going through some cancer treatments, and they were going to be having a party for her while she was going to do like a ritual hair cutting thing before the chemo kicked in. And like the CEO of her company was coming. So they had these really nice printed invites. She texted me with the invite, and it said the location at the 3rd floor boardroom. So I get on Google, and I'm trying to find this place, for like 20 minutes. And I find the 403 boardroom in Fort Lauderdale and some other place in Michigan. And I finally text her back. I'm like, look, I can't find this place. And she's like, what are you talking about? I'm like, the 3rd floor boardroom. She's like, no, it's in our building, you idiot.
It's literally on the 3rd floor.
Yeah, it's the 3rd floor boardroom. All of a sudden, it like hit me like, oh, duh. Anyway, that was my shining moment.
Well done.
Yeah, I don't know if I'd tell people that story a lot.
Yeah, they're pretty used to it from me, so I'm okay with it. She got a nice laugh out of it, so it was worth it. Yeah, so I think I'm gonna try to go get my motorcycle out of the storage shed, and I'll see if Scott wants to give me some lessons on how to like sit on it. And I don't remember what the knobs and levers are for and stuff.
Hey, Steve, you want to go ride Route 1?
The one?
The one. You got to ride the one.
Ride the Route 1.
The one.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I'm gonna go riding with Scott Friday morning.
That'd be nice.
Yeah. We can before it becomes 97.5 degrees here.
Will it start?
Yeah, I've got them. Since the last time I rode with Scott and Doug, I've got them on both of them on chargers now. So I had one that I was like switching back and forth, and then one of my ones I got from Cycle Gear just crapped out on me, quit working, threw it in the trash. I got another one. I mean, for what they charge you for those things, on sale it was like $16 and it lasted 4 years. It's worth it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So what did you get to replace it?
I was at the KTM dealership and they had a sale on the battery tender ones.
Okay.
For like $22. So I got one of those.
That's a good deal.
Yeah, it's a smaller one, not the big one, the mini one kind of. Hey, speaking of good deals, and I texted this to Scott the other day. So again, I went and looked at a 2018 Goldwing at the local Honda dealer, and the guy had like 6 of them there, different versions of what Doug and I saw. They didn't have the special edition. Everything that they had was white. Interestingly enough, Doug, the guy told me something that I didn't really realize, that any accessories that you order with that bike that have to be built into the bike, he told me that they charge labor for that.
Oh.
So I've never heard of that before, because I know Yamaha doesn't do that. If you order a motorcycle from Yamaha with any of their accessories, when you go to pick up the bike, they're installed and they don't charge you labor for it. But this particular Honda dealership, because the guy even told me, I said, well, can I just, if I was going to order one and I bought the accessories, can I just pick them up and put them on myself? He's like, yeah, but some of the things, like the fog lights, you got to take apart the whole front end.
Yeah.
So maybe that's one of the reasons why they're doing that. Anyway, make a long story short, I looked at the bike again and was kind of over looking at the accessories section, and the same guy I was talking to comes up to me, and they had a whole rack of climb gear that was branded Honda. And he's like, do you wear this stuff? And I said, yeah, I've got some climb gear. And he's like, I'll give you this at cost. We can't sell it to anybody. Nobody will buy it. So they're blowing out induction jackets at 40% off.
Nice.
Yeah.
Does it say
And they're
Honda on it though?
Well, no, it doesn't say Honda. It says Climb on the left chest, and then real small it says Goldwing on the right. And on the back, it's got a tiny Goldwing logo, maybe 3 inches long, across between the shoulder blades. I don't care. Like I told Scott, that means now I have to buy a Goldwing because I got the jacket.
Yeah.
It would have been something different, Doug, if it had big, giant, Honda all over it, but it's real understated, And for that money, I was like, oh, yeah, I'll take one. Sure.
So that's interesting that Honda charges for adding accessories onto your motorcycle. I bought my Bonneville with cruise control, and they didn't charge me for labor on the cruise control. I just paid for the part.
Did they add it there, or was it a factory installed option?
It wasn't factory installed. They added it there, but they didn't charge me labor for it. They just charged me for the part.
Yeah, and I'll be honest, I don't know if that's just a policy of this Honda dealership or if that's something that's global, but I thought that was kind of crazy. I mean, why would you discourage people from ordering accessories?
I don't know. You think that'd be a good upsell for them because it's not really costing them what they're charging for it. So
not only that, I would imagine that they would get some sort of a kickback from Honda corporate for doing that, for selling it and putting it on, but obviously not, because he's like, no, we charge for labor.
Well, I got a buddy of mine that lives in New Jersey, maybe Pennsylvania. I don't know. He works in New Jersey, and he just bought one of those brand new Goldwings and put the lights on it himself. And he said it was a 2.5 hour round trip just for the body work.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Yeah, it was admittedly only the first time he'd done it, but it was still 2.5 hours to get the body work on and get it back on, get it off and get it back on again. So you would think that a qualified Honda mechanic would be able to get that done faster, but you never know. It might just be, I've never touched one, but it might just be a giant pain in the ass to get all the body work off to get to the electrical connectors.
And what he was talking about too, which I wouldn't have ordered anyway, he said the worst of them is the CB, and I didn't even know they still offer that, but apparently they do. And he said that was like the worst because everything had to come apart to get to mount that. Honestly, the only thing I thought that was even looked halfway interesting was the little luggage rack on the back trunk. Maybe the fog lights too, but they don't offer a ton of accessories right now, OEM, for that. There's like bag liners and some like little carpeted mats that fit inside the bags. The bags are really small too. We talked about that the last time we discussed the bikes. I went through them again, looking at it, and it's a weekend packing, or you're going to be, cleaning clothes in the sink every couple of days.
What's the point of having a bike that size if it's got small saddlebags?
When Doug and I did the test ride, the rep from Honda told us that they polled a lot of people and said that that's what they were looking for, which I just found really hard to believe.
Okay. More power to them. If I'm gonna buy a bike that's made to go across I-40 in 3 days, then I want to have enough gear for the whole trip.
Right.
Right. Yeah. They said their market analysis that it was more the riders are more hotel oriented rather than camping oriented, so that they felt that.
Yeah, I suppose that makes sense.
Well, I mean, you can forget any type of camping gear unless you're pulling a trailer on that bike. And even hoteling it, like I said, you know, I can remember years ago watching these guys at. I was at a campground in Sutchess, Georgia, at Two Wheels Only, and they were. I was on the V-Strom, and I had GV bags, and I tend to pack kind of light and pack like lightweight pants and stuff. And these guys all had jeans, and this one guy had taken his jeans and like folded them and ironed them and put them in like those vacuum seal bags. So the guy had like 6 pair of jeans that filled up one saddle bag. So
That's a lot of jeans.
Yeah, you're not doing that on the Goldwing. You're going to be packing really light gear.
So
Honestly,
Jed's got to ride a Goldwing, not a new one, but Jed, you got to ride a Goldwing, right?
Yeah, I went to the traveling picnic on my little venture around the eastern coast or whatever, and went to the traveling picnic, and this guy, probably my age, got a 2008 Goldwing, and I tried it, and he tried the Bonneville, and I told him, I was like, wow, you just having a Honda Accord with 2 wheels here, because it's basically like driving a car. It really is. It's like driving a car. I told him it was cheating. And then he said, yeah, I don't know how you do miles like this. And I'm like, well, I get how you do miles like this with that because it's cheating. So I don't know. It's too big for me. It's just too plush. It's just too much of a car.
you got to ride the 18. It's a huge difference, I'm telling you.
Yeah, because the one I rode just felt too big. It was like my concourse, but fat, like really, really fat and slow.
Yeah, these aren't slow, and they're like 90 pounds lighter than the other ones, and they're definitely narrower. You know, I didn't feel much different than I do on the. I mean, how did you think the KTM felt when you rode it?
Yeah,
so, I mean, like it's not fat, right? Like the
No. I mean, it's just like it's very similar to like Doug's bike. We switched up on the Blue Ridge. I think we had to just to kind of stretch our legs and, you know, what was it? Work on our butt geography or whatever.
Yeah.
But the KTM was definitely not a big motorcycle. Like it felt top heavy, but a little bit, but it was a motorcycle still. You know, the Goldwing was not a motorcycle to me. It felt more like I was driving a car almost. It was weird.
Yeah, I don't get that feeling, and I like bigger motorcycles. I actually, and this is going to sound weird, Jeds, but I actually felt like it was a little small. You know, when I rode it, it felt a little compact.
The new Goldwing?
Yeah, the new one.
Yep.
Yeah, it felt like my knees were, you know, like I could have had a little bit more leg room. You know, like the knees were a little high. I don't know. Have you rode one yet, Wes?
No, I haven't ridden one. I saw them outside the local Honda dealership. They had 3 of them parked side by side. But I was on my way to something for my kid, and I couldn't stop and check them out, and then I forgot.
Yeah, I mean, you've obviously ridden a K1600, right?
Yeah, I've ridden the K1600 GT and the K1600 Bagger.
Is there a GTL as well?
Yeah, the GTL is like the one that they came out with that was kind of designed to take on the Goldwing. It was they were when they discontinued the K1200 LT, which had, you know, gotten bigger and bigger and more like a giant pig than a motorcycle. They went sporty, but then they figured, well, those guys are going to complain if we don't give them something with armrests. So they did the GTL so that people could have armrests.
Okay.
I rode a GTL this year. I have a review on my channel, and
yeah, you did that with the walk around video.
Yeah, and it didn't feel like a Goldwing. It felt more like your KTM, Steve.
Really?
More like your KTM. Like it felt more like a motorcycle than it did feel like something different. You know.
Yeah, you got to get a test ride on a 2018. I really want to hear your opinion on it, because I think you're going to find it to be a lot different.
Okay.
The bike is physically smaller. I mean, I was kind of impressed by the speed on it too, especially in sport mode. the DCT to me was very impressive. I was all prepared not to like it because I'd ridden it, not the dual clutchless transmission, whatever else that the other flavor of automatic transmission that they had in that 500, which I couldn't stand. I mean, it was just horrible. This thing was impressive. And even taking it out of DCT and paddle shifting it, it was fast. So I want you to ride one if you can. I mean, I don't know if you've got like dealers up there that do demo rides. This guy told me from Rick Case Honda down in South Florida, and keep this in mind, Scotty. This guy said, "Hey, come back with your helmet and you can take another ride on it." So he must have a demo version there. I don't know. I think
Steve, you should try the K1600. I think if you look at the pricing, it's actually very competitive. In fact, it's cheaper than the Goldwing, I think. So,
what about cost of ownership, Wes, on that?
Maintenance costs are going to be a little higher, probably. Although I don't. The last Honda I had was a CB750. So I don't really know what Honda dealers charge by the hour, but that's one of the complaints that K16 riders make, is that the maintenance costs are a little bit high. The nice thing is that if you put those Michelin Pilot Road GT tires on it, the tires apparently last forever as long as you keep the air pressure up. So you can get 10, 12,000 miles out of a set of tires, which helps kind of mitigate the, you got to kind of take it to the dealer for the oil change stuff.
I mean, how much of that is true after the warranty expires? Can you do an oil change by yourself on those without having to take off 25 pounds of plastic? Or
you can. It's a little complicated. They've got this weird like dual kind of oil reservoir thing that you gotta make sure you drain it correctly, basically, and it can be a little tricky. But once you get the technique down, you could definitely do it yourself. And the nice thing about that inline six is those valves, they just don't move. So they do valve checks, part of the warranty stuff. But after the warranty's over, the valves aren't moving, so don't even bother.
Yeah, I mean, I'd like to ride one. I'll take a look at it. I don't particularly care for the bagger style on either bike. It's just not my jam. But I'll check one of those out. Hey, Case, are you alive or did you pass out on your motorcycle over there?
No, I'm still here.
Okay, looks like you're sleeping on the bike from the picture. So, well, I got you on the line there, Steve. Tell us what you got behind you that you're building right now.
It's a 1993 Honda CB750 Nighthawk.
Nice.
Picked it up from Vermont with the help of Jed's. It's got a 78 CB750 tank on it. Custom paint that I did myself, which was quite a challenge. I've never really done much painting, and I had to redo this like 4 or 5 times just to get it right.
What was the challenge about it? What made it hard?
The paint just kept running together. The tape that I kept buying, even though it was painter's tape, it didn't stop any of the paint from running underneath it.
Mm.
So I had to go to like a professional paint shop and be like, what tape do you guys have? And they sold me this special like silicone tape that it's basically just plastic tape that you put on and it's sealed perfectly in order for me to get the right edges on it.
Yeah, it looks pretty sharp. So that's the bike that you kind of hand built the seat on the back?
What was that?
This is the bike that you handmade the seat, the cowl for the back of it?
Yep.
Yeah.
I got a fiberglass seat pan. It's actually over on the bench right over there. Probably can't really see it in the video. Converted to monoshock. That was a challenge, but I finally got the monoshock dialed in. It's a little soft because I'm a bigger guy, but for someone like Jed's, it would be perfect.
How did you come up with the right angle for that? Or is that kind of a common thing?
For this, it was while I was on my way back from Lake George, because I had already had one shock and it didn't quite fit right. It was like a 14-inch long shock and it was way too soft. So while I was on my way back from Lake George, I happened to look over at a gas station and I saw this kid riding this naked Honda crotch rocket, and it was a CB919, and it was a linkageless suspension. So I already knew that shock was going to be right. So I basically, when I bought this shock, and I did my best to get the exact same angle on the back of this bike that the CB919 had.
Yeah. You know, one of the most underrated motorcycles too. The 919.
I've never actually ridden one. I would like to, though.
No, they were cool. And not to get off topic about the bike you're building, so I think your bike's great. If you guys can see this on the video, I'm going to put him up on here so you can see it. But, you know, it's just a really cool bike, neat design. And I like what you did with the front with that plate.
Move out of the way a little bit, let people.
Yeah, it's got like dirt bike bars on it. It's just a cool bike. Are those the original rims too?
Yep.
Yeah.
I had them sandblasted and powder coated.
So what do you plan on doing with it? Are you going to sell it or are you going to ride it?
I'm going to ride this thing.
Yeah. Yeah, that's cool.
I can't wait to actually get to fire it up.
So the 919 was a bike that I'm surprised that they didn't bring back in some sort of flavor. It was just a regular naked standard, but it was a cool motorcycle. And
yeah,
they were a lot of fun to ride. Yeah. Yeah, it's a drag.
Did you have to modify the swing arm at all to get that monoshock mounted?
Yes. Yeah. I had to stiffen it up a little bit, obviously, because you're taking the tension from the rear to the front, so you have to make it rigid so it can handle the flex. And then I had to obviously weld the mounts up in a spot that wasn't going to give any leeway or anything.
It's really cool.
Thanks.
Yeah, you did a great job on that. I'm looking forward to you hopefully posting some video riding it. It's cool.
Well, hopefully soon I'll have the video of it firing up and tuning the carbs. So
When do you think you'll have it on the road?
probably sometime next month.
Okay. I have vacation up next month and I'm staying home, so I might come out and see you.
Well, come on out.
You can smell it already.
Yeah.
So did any of you guys do the ride to work day this year?
I did.
I
did?
did not. I was on a boat.
You could pass on that, man.
I rode a boat to work. The boat was work.
Crash, were there any like scooters or motorcycles on the boat by any chance? I mean, it's going to sound stupid, but was there?
When we had the ship did quite a few like Steel Beach picnics where basically they just like grilled out on the flight deck and everybody came up and hung out or whatever. And they had these little tricycles that they would bring out and people would like ride them around. They were not like kids tricycles. They had like air and like inflatable tires on them, and like they were big enough that like a person could ride one,
like
and then
old
someone
people's
else
tricycles, right?
I
see down here in all the 55 and older communities.
not like a big old granny bike. Like the pedals were still mounted directly to the front wheel.
Oh, cool.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And you could ride, and it was like, a small wheel. And you could ride them around, and they would like, somebody would ride around on the back and like shoot a water gun at people. But that was the extent of it. One day I rode one before we deployed. Actually, I rode around the flight deck like with it up on two wheels for like as long as I could.
Of course you did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nothing else to do in the Navy, right? So did you have a chance to ride any motorcycles in any of these exotic places you visited?
No, in fact, we were like specifically told we weren't allowed to do anything like that.
Really?
Yeah. The problem. I use the word problem. The thing with our mission is we were doing this like multinational exercise that's like mostly diplomatic and like a sort of like showing face around the world.
So it was complete bullshit, basically.
It was complete bullshit, and that came along with a bunch of extra bullshit rules. Like, when you think of sailors going out on liberty, they're gonna get shit-faced, and they're probably gonna like try to ride anything with wheels that they can, and all sorts of other various nefarious things. We were not allowed to come. They breathalyzed people coming back on the boat, and we were not allowed to come back on the boat with an alcohol content above a 0.08. So
Wow.
like we were not allowed to get drunk on Liberty, which many people ignored that rule and got away with it. But it was still like put out to us that we were not allowed to.
Did anybody
get
have
drunk.
to like sit on the dock until they sobered up?
I don't know. I never noticed anybody do that. For the most part,
Right.
like my helo detachment pretty much said, "Fuck you and your rules. We're gonna do what we want," and we didn't follow that rule.
Right.
And nobody had a problem with it at any point. Like one of our guys did blow above a 0.08 one day, and they came up and told his, like they told my chief, and my chief was like, "All right, cool, we'll take care of it." And that was the end of it.
And that's how they took care of it.
Yeah.
So in Southeast Asia, was that typical cliche about, entire families riding around on scooters? Did you find that to be true?
Yes, absolutely. Like I saw many times in Indonesia or Malaysia or wherever, like 3 or 4 people on a scooter, including a baby on the back, like a woman's back.
That's crazy.
Like all the time.
How much road pizza did you see too while you were there?
Like none.
Nobody crashed. Like everybody's honking their horn and just driving around.
Just tons of horn honking. One of the buses in Vietnam that we were on that like took us out to where basically every time we pull into port, they'd set up buses for us to like get on to get out of the little industrial area and take us into the city.
Mm-hmm.
And one of those ones, like the horn was the most obnoxious sound I've ever heard, and it was just on it the whole time, like meh, 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 meh. And I saw something that fascinated me. There was a guy sitting next to us in a truck, like a delivery truck kind of thing, a box truck.
Right.
And he only had to hit his horn once, and it had something built into it that made it go like beep, 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 beep. But he only like tapped the horn one time, and it just automatically did this like big rolling like honk. Like that's interesting.
Horn fart kind of, right?
Oh, as if he had as if he was like pounding on it like over and over and over again.
Right.
But he only tapped it one time. I was like, that's kind of cool. I mean, if that's your cultural thing is like this ridiculous horn nonsense, then, why not make it easier for everybody?
Vietnam's on my bucket list, but if I go there, I'm definitely renting a motorcycle.
Yeah, you should. I went to the part of Vietnam I went to is called Nha Trang. And it was a ton of fun. The dollar went ridiculously far. It was definitely worth going to. There were a lot of Russian tourists that were there. So there were a ton of white people everywhere we went. There were a lot of Russian people there.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a big tourist destination now. So, hey, listen, not to change the subject real quick, but I need some advice from you guys. I want to add a top box on the back of the KTM, and I don't want to spend the money for the KTM version of it. And I know, Jed, did you recently get something new for the Bonneville, or did you like put an older one back on there? Did he leave? Where did he go?
I don't know.
He's got that GV box, and it's actually pretty big. I saw it when we were on our trip. It's like a suitcase.
Those are like a 37-liter or something GV, right?
It might be even more than that. It's pretty big.
They make a 52-liter too.
Christ on a cracker. That's huge.
Yeah.
It's like a big piece of Samsonite. It's a big thing. You want a hard box for that?
Yeah, just around town.
Soft bag guy.
No, I know, but and I've got 2 soft bags for that. I've got a big 60-liter Moscow Moto that's a roll top, and then the 40-liter backcountry duffel. But just for around town, just to lock stuff in. Like if I take a camera with me somewhere, you can't really lock anything up in the soft bags, and they're a pain in the ass. It's more for travel, just like around town.
Have you heard of Caribou cases?
Is that the ones who are making the ones that look like Pelican boxes?
Yeah. Well, at least I don't know about what they do now, but when they first started, they were using Pelican cases, and they put these like mount kits on them, and they had their own little mounting racks. I put one of those on an old BMW of mine. It worked really well, and I got one of the smaller cases, so it wasn't massive. But it worked really well. I had to kind of beef up the aluminum spars that they included, but once I did that, it was perfectly stable. It worked really great, waterproof, easy to lock, and you can just detach it, and now you got a briefcase.
Yeah, they make a 40-liter top case. I'm just looking at their thing now.
Or you could just buy the Pelican case. That's what I did. And then if you have a mounting plate already on the back of your rack, or you can buy a universal one for pretty cheap off eBay or something.
Right.
Just drill holes that match up to the hole pattern and use some fender washers. And mine hasn't leaked at all.
Okay. Did you put silicone or anything like that, or you didn't really need to, being on the bottom?
It doesn't need it being on the bottom. I've had it in. My bike lives outside, so it gets poured down, rain on. Never had anything leak. And I pull it on and off every now and then too. Never had any issues.
I can see Steve at work now, and he's at the firehouse, and he's got one of the radio cases, and he's dumping all the radios out of the case.
Oh, that's a good idea. There's a bunch of crap around there I could probably use. So this 40-liter, yeah, they make a 40-liter. I'm going to check it. So it's exactly $315 for the kit that they have. They have a 1290 kit with the 40-liter for $315. I'm going to look into this, or I'm actually going to do what Alex said too, and look into the possibility of just putting a mount on the bottom, because I actually have a Pelican. Like I forgot the number of the case, but it's about this size. That was a camera case I haven't used in years.
Mine's small. Mine's the 1610, I think, box, which is like a 20-liter.
Mine's a 1500.
Yeah.
Now that I remember. Yeah.
If you pull the foam out of it, you'd have a decent little box.
Yeah, I'm gonna look into doing that. Because the KTM ones are stupid money. It's like $600 just for the one box on the rear. And the latches on them are not that great. They kind of
color match, Steve. They color match them.
Yeah, they're orange.
The orange, yeah. You get the orange stripe on it.
They're orange. No, they're actually black and silver. I'm thinking maybe I might even be able to trade the ones I have for somebody, because I don't use them. They're just sitting in the storage unit. All right, well, that was a good tip, Alex. Thank you. I totally forgot about the fact that I had that Pelican case.
Yeah, Happy Trails makes mount, like, you can get their like mounting system for like it by itself, and then that's how I built my ammo can saddlebags.
I wonder if they've got one that fits on the stock. See, I think Caribou may be using some proprietary brand of plate that they built, it looks like.
Yeah, so the ones that you get from Happy Trail they come with, it's just 4 blocks. You put them where you want them. Like, you do the measuring and drilling, and you put them exactly where you want them. It's not like a plate. It's like 4 individual pieces. And then there's 2, like, they're kind of like guide pins, I guess, to help stabilize everything. I didn't even need to use them on the ammo cans.
How does it mount, though? I mean, when you put those 4 blocks on, how does the thing mount to it?
It's like a plastic block with a rectangular steel piece at the end, so that that piece hooks underneath the bar, and then on the inside you like tighten it down, and so like it's either a bolt or like a hand knob, either way you want to do it. And so you tighten that down, and that cinches the little the metal bar like down, and like sandwiches that metal the rack in between the case and the mounting block.
Okay. I'll take a look at that.
I feel like that was a convoluted explanation, but the second you see it, it'll be obvious.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm gonna look on their website and see what they've got. I mean, the one that they have for, like, I could probably get something pretty generic from Twisted Throttle for the mount if I'm gonna decide to put it in the bottom of that Pelican box. All right, yeah. I just figure there's nowhere, and I'm not, to be honest with you, I've been kind of using that tank bag from Moscow Moto, and it's just not really my cup of tea. I'm so used to, a tank bag that's like you fit into the top of it. this thing is the way it's designed. It's cool. It's just not like for carrying a camera. You have to use a secondary case inside this thing, kind of underneath the beaver tail. And it's just not my way I'd like to carry a camera. I'm either probably going to get one of those enduro stand bags or maybe a giant loop or something that I can put even some of these. Actually, BMW makes an insert I've seen for their tank bag to hold camera equipment. Have you seen that, Wes?
I haven't seen the BMW one. I know Touratech makes some camera capable tank bags. So
maybe it's just branded from Touratech for BMW.
It might be.
Yeah. Yeah, I saw it in the BMW catalog, and it just looks like what you would have in a camera bag. You know, it's a divider set, and that would work really well. But
if you had a spare tank bag lying around, you could probably gin something up pretty easily, you know, with some Velcro and padded dividers from old camera bags.
Yeah, the one that I've got now is really small. It's a small Wolfman bag, and I've used it on the divide trip, and it was okay for just the one body with a lens attached, but that was about it. So I want to, you know, I've got small cameras like micro four thirds. So I'd like to take, you know, just the camera and a couple lenses, and that's it. But the one Wolfman bag I have is just too small for it. They make a bigger one, and Giant Loop makes something even nicer, actually.
Yeah, I picked up a Giant Loop K. It starts with a K. I forget the name of it. Last year, super easy to install. It doesn't zip. It's got this clamshell, you know, kind of thing. Really cool. Really, really snappy. And they say it's not waterproof, but unless the water's kind of blowing up from underneath, it's going to be pretty waterproof.
It's pretty inherently waterproof, I think. I mean, water resistant. You'd be fine in a decent rain in it.
Yeah. And they send this, they send a waterproof zip bag along with it. And what I do, I put my camera in there, and then just kind of, it's going to look stupid on this, but I kind of zip it almost all the way and then blow a bunch of air into it to give the camera some padding and throw that in the tank bag.
Yeah. I don't know exactly what you're talking about. I'll check into that. Guys, you got anything else? We're running on about an hour now, and
so yeah, Steve, my son got me this for my birthday. It's kind of interesting product for motorcycle guys, and I don't know if you can see this, but it's a scented candle, and it's castor oil scented, so 2-stroke castor oil scented candle.
Nice.
Does it smell like that?
Yes. Yeah.
Oh man, that is totally cool.
Yeah, castor oil scented candle. What do they come up with next? These crazy guys.
Yeah, that is great. I love that. I gotta find me one of those. You piss off a few people when you light it in the house, though. So, anything last minute? Anybody want to make any announcements? Anything going on? Wes, you want to tell them where they can find you?
Sure. Right now, my show's at horizon.bmwmoa.org, and of course, you know, iTunes and Google Play Music and all those kinds of things. And you know,
official podcast for the BMW Owners Association, right?
Yeah, I guess you could say that. we don't do a lot of talking about BMW stuff. It's a pretty industry wide show. I got some cool stuff coming up in September. I'm really excited about.
Cool. Doug, where can we find you?
So I'm the remote reporter for Scotty of the Amen Moto, you know, Amen Moto and Jed's Moto. We're looking for people to ride with, right? So if you're in New England and you want to go riding with Jed's, you'll never forget it if you go riding with Jed's. And if you're in South Florida, and you want your 15 minutes of fame, we can look up Scotty. And if you're in the Mid-Atlantic area, certainly I'm looking for somebody to do Mabder with.
Mabder.
I don't want to do it by myself. I'd rather have somebody with me, but we're always looking for somebody to ride with. And if you'd like to get on a motorcycle video, we would love to ride with you. So contact us through Amen Moto. Scotty?
I can tell you right now, if you ride with Jed's at all, make sure you have a comm system and you're linked to him so you can hear his maniacal laughter.
You'll hear it in the Blue Ridge Parkway video. I've never laughed so much in my entire life.
It was a lot of fun.
Right. And Scotty's going to be doing the #1 highway, right, Scotty?
Yeah, I've got this lifetime goal to try and ride all of US 1.
Me too.
And gonna take a couple decades or something, right? But you're on the other Highway 1, right? California 1.
Mm-hmm.
That's
I want
the
to
one.
ride. I want to ride US 1 from Key West to Canada, up in Maine.
Nice.
It'll
I'm really
only take like 100 years.
I'm really excited about that because it means you'll be going right past my house, and I'll be able to see you without coming to Florida.
Yep.
Well, I
So
might be riding part of that with you Friday morning. I'll call you tomorrow. So
yeah, Friday I want to knock out Pompano Beach to Fort Pierce. Should take us 3.5 hours.
well, no, you're going to be. Remember the bike's in Jupiter, so I'll meet you there.
We may have to work out some logistics somehow.
If you're going to leave, you're going to leave at 8, right? You said.
Mhm.
Yeah, by 9 o'clock, you'll be up there. Maybe 9:30. So
We'll figure it out.
I'll just wait for you somewhere on the 1.
Set up a
All right.
departure lounge, and maybe you'll pick up some riders with you.
That's probably not a bad idea. Might do that. We'll put something out on Facebook. See if anybody wants to ride up from either Pompano or from Jupiter.
That'd be cool.
Or anywhere in between. They could pick you up on the way in West Palm. Crash, you got anything other than just settling back in from this long trip?
Yeah, I was just thinking like that I need to. So the bike, before I left for the deployment, I set up the bike for a shorter rider in the form of Jess, and I was like, oh, I want to ride it tomorrow, but like, oh, those shocks suck, so maybe I don't want to ride it tomorrow. So maybe this weekend I'll get over there and like get down in the garage and make the motorcycle mine again. I'm not sure. I've got this AirTech fender that I want to make into a proper rear fender for the Bonneville, but that's
what happened to the rear fender on that bike? You took it off a long time ago?
Yeah, I took it off a long time ago and never kept it, and so I want to do something a little different, and it won't be the exact stock fender setup, which is fine by me. I just have to figure out what I'm going to do, and I'm considering repainting the whole bike. There's a lot of things kind of up in the air right now, and I don't know exactly when I'm going to do what first.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to see if I can get the Guzzi started and take that Friday morning because I just haven't ridden it in such a long time. I'm a little worried about the fact that it's been sitting with like crap gas in there. I mean, I usually use rec fuel, and I know that the last time I couldn't get it, but I did put Startron in there, so hopefully it'll be all right.
Yeah.
Alex, you got anything planned ride wise, or are you still trying to settle up everything else you've been working on?
I might try and catch up with Doug when he does sections of the Mid-Atlantic BDR. Otherwise, any riding and stuff that I do, I tend to post on my Instagram, Maryland Moto.
Yep.
And sometimes I write about it at marylandmoto.com.
So if people want to check out Maryland Moto on Instagram or marylandmoto.com. And I think we've done all the plugs we need to do except for Steve Case. Steve, you're going to be done with that bike, you said, in about a month, and then there's another project behind that?
Yeah, hopefully I'll be getting my hands on a 80s Ninja 500EX. That's still up in the air right now. I'm also looking into a Goldwing, an older 70s, maybe 80s Goldwing. But if anyone wants to follow me, they can find me at Special Case 1987 on Instagram.
Perfect.
That's where I post all my stuff.
You got cool pictures on there. All right. Well, I don't have anything else. You guys got anything else? We will probably be back on a 2-week schedule, right, Crash?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, something close to 2 weeks. And hopefully the next trip will be the AIM Expo if we don't do any motorcycle trips. And I hope to have our buddy Spencer Hill on again because he's been doing a bunch of epic rides out west that I didn't get to go on. So we'll have him tell us about that. And that's it. I got nothing else. Any of you other guys?
Nope.
All good.
Nope.
All right.
Get out and ride.
See ya.
All right.